When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Whoa, stand
now. All right. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, Troxel Sports Talk. We are live for the Grid and TROX show on April 10th, 2020. We are going to be talking about Drew Brees, the XFL, NFL, and also the NFL draft. The Gridiron Blitz is not with us right now. He is still currently at work. So I decided, he's told me to go on first. So that's what we're going to be doing. And yeah, so you guys might be asking, okay, Trav, why did you play Stand By Me? Well, today might be the last day for my current microphone. As you guys know, that your boy's been on a tear lately, and he has his new microphone in, and yeah, so I'm going to be improving the microphone quality, possibly starting Monday, where we're going to be live on the Gridiron Blitz's channel. But with that being said, how's everybody doing? Let's do a quick little roll call. We got the Gridiron Blitz in the building. Dwayne Boatwright. Antonio Hightower. Yuki. Jorge. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you guys' day is well. No, Yuki. No, no, it's only for the microphone. Michael Johnson's in the building. Kyle Webb, 2K Plays, what's going on? Michael Johnson says, Michigan update as of 6 p.m. from Detroit 4 News. 22,783 cases and 1,281 deaths. Man, that is a huge number to swallow, and I could see why they extended it for another 20 more days. What's going on, Miss Johnson? Gridiron Blitz will be in the building as soon as he gets home. Absolutely, Yuki says huge number to swallow. Hold up. Absolutely. Appreciate that, Dwayne. Uh, so let's kick it off. I already know some of you have been in the Gridiron Blitz's channel and know that the XFL has canceled their season for this year, or well, all operations for this year and possibly next year. Uh, my thoughts on it. If you missed earlier show, uh, I think it's really for just that the NFL or the XFL is doing it just as a precaution due to the COVID-19 outbreak. And, once it passed, there could be a possibility that they resume, what do you call it? They resume, everyday work back up again. I hope it's the case because I think that the XFL has done a beautiful job in their comeback. They took out all the other nonsense and kept it about football. When you keep it about football and you're trying to launch a new brand for football, well, no, they canceled the season about a month ago. But the operation, like their day-to-day operations, like their general managers, their staff, their coaches, all that, now they got laid off. But yeah, the XFL has been what do you call it? The season was terminated this year. But as far as the day to day, like general managers and things like that, calling and making trades and doing this and doing that, like all that has been suspended. They've been laid off, and my prayers are out to them. Hopefully that they can land back on their feet. Maybe if there's an opening in college or in the pros, maybe they can move their talents to there while they're able to deal with this COVID-19. What's going on, Jordan Hamilton? How's it going, brother? Love that picture. That dog looks amazing. But yeah, that is my thoughts on the XFL in their cancellation of the thing. I hope that they do come back because, like I said, for me, it was helping curing the itch of no more football, no more NFL. After the Super Bowl, it's like the saddest time of the year for a lot of us sports fanatics. Is because what is there left? There's the NBA, the NHL. They're gearing up for the postseason and things like that. Because it's right around their All-Star break when the Super Bowl happens. But in the same token, it's not the same as America's favorite sport, which is football. So for the XFL to kind of close their doors for at least a minimum of 2 years, it's kind of sad. I do hope that they do resume. Just because of the fact that when you're trying to build something, you need continuity. You need an everyday schedule type of thing. So where people are like, yeah, I know in February after the Super Bowl, the XFL is going to be kicking off, and we got football until at least the draft. Now we don't have that. Well, we don't have sports in general, but as far as if it's an everyday normal, now we don't have that I want to say the cure of that itch for football up until the draft. And then, after the draft, then we got like about a month, 2 months before, training camps and early OTAs and things like that will start kicking up. So in the same token, I feel like there's a huge void. Especially next year where, hopefully this COVID-19 is gone. And if the XFL is still, their doors are closed, then, there's that void again. And it's just like, we waited almost, 20 years, 15 years before this can happen. Maybe even longer. And for it to get ripped away from us again, I feel bad for all the fans and it wasn't a, you know, there was people in the stands. There was people watching at home. You know, it's not like the AAF where, you know, it was a whole, I want to say like a whole lack of production on the field. The XFL delivered on the field. You know, so it hurts. You know, it really does. Um, you know, let me know what you guys think about it. Jordan Hamilton, Grid's still at work. He is working his tail off, and he's trying to get back, you know, home and you know be able to start the show with us. Um, you know, here shortly. Hopefully, you know, he can get off of work on time and you know, in a reasonable amount of time and be able to catch the show. You know, my prayers are out to him. Hopefully, he's at least able to listen and you know, hopefully that he's safe and you know, my prayers are out with you, brother. But as we did promise you guys, regardless if Gridiron is on or not, or if I am on or not, the show will go on time at 9:30. You know, that was one thing Gridiron and myself both talked long about, and you know, I we both came up with the agreement that you know you guys deserve to have it on time. So, you know, we talked about it, and, you know, regardless if it's a one man show for the day or a two-man show or one person's late, the show's going on, and, you know, get in where you can get in. Just be safe, you know. So, Travis, you got money. You got enough money to make a football league? Hey, I love your thinking, Yuki. I wish. That would be awesome, though. Uh-oh. I talking about if I have enough money to start a football league, my MVP's in the building. What's going on in the heart of Detroit? What's going on, Arku? Any Netflix show you've been watching, Troxel, says Yuki, or says Arku? Um, no, I haven't. I've been really focused on working on this draft, and you know, I've been really trying to put my time and effort into this draft, so I have not had time to really watch a whole lot of TV. You know, between you know taking care of my daughter and you know working on this draft, I've been you know pretty much swamped. But outside of that, you know, I will probably go back and watch the TV series Gotham. There's about 5 seasons of that. It's a very good thing. Even if you're not a whole Batman type person, I absolutely love Gotham. Uh, you know, I think it gives a dynamic to that whole Batman. You know, because it takes place from Bruce Wayne's parents' death. You know, in his childhood. So I absolutely love it. And you know, if I gotta recommend something to somebody, I would definitely you know recommend that show. You know, but make sure you're at least 14 or older because I believe it is PG 14 or TV 14. Troxel in the future, you should start watching All American. Okay, I could you know start watching some episodes of that as long as it's on Netflix. You know, I Michael Johnson brings up a great point. He says, "What about XFL by the AAF teams?" I think that they possibly could, and I think that's another reason why you know I think Vince just decides to wait. You know what? There's a COVID-19. We're pretty much dead in the water. Let me just you know lay off everybody, and then we can make some talks, get some teams, add more teams to this XFL because you know the people are enjoying it, and you know so then when it does resume, say in 2021 or 2022, that there's more teams, there's more, different scenarios of, who's going to make the playoffs, who's not, and really give the fans something enjoyable. And I think, with the XFL being able to buy the AAF, I think they have the best shot. Vince McMahon is a very savvy businessman. As you guys could see, for WrestleMania and things and his big time pay-per-views, he makes sure that he spends that money to give the people what they want. And be at least entertained as, for sports and entertainment. Yuki says BFL is Travis Blitz and my football league. Dwayne Boatwright says catch the football challenge, and after that the Rabbit Hop Championship this Sunday on Fox. Okay. Hopefully, they're catch the foosball challenge. I'm sorry. And after that, the Rabbit Hop Championship this Sunday on Fox. Definitely going to try to check that out. But yeah, I'm kind of like shocked about that whole XFL closing its doors and laying people off. Just because the word on the street was the XFL had enough money for at least 3 to 5 years. And for them just to kind of close the doors abruptly, it's kind of a shocker. It kind of took us all by like, wow, what just happened? Well, the XFL lied. Yeah, Yuki, absolutely. Jordan Hamilton says, "Hey Troxel, can I become a mod? I have been in the stream a lot. Sorry to ask." You know what, Jordan? You have been in our streams a lot. Welcome to the mod squad. You know our rules. We try to keep a clean channel, so please try to refrain from cursing. And you know, and if anybody that is new, give them a warning first before you time them out, or boot them out. Uh, just because they don't know the rules. Oh, you're welcome, Jordan. But so we could get down to the next order of business. We got one Mr. Drew Brees. He found life after football. So when he retires, he is going to NBC. There was an article on Bleacher Report. Let me bring that up real fast. Oh, is that it? Yep. Okay. So Drew Brees is going to be signing with NBC Sports contract after ESPN or over ESPN after his playing career is over with the New Orleans Saints. That article was by Scott Polalik. Hopefully I said his name properly. If not, terribly sorry. That came out earlier today. And his article wrote, the New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees reportedly has a post-retirement plan in place. According to Andrew Marchand of the New York Post, Brees will sign with NBC Sports and not ESPN as part of the deal that will go into effect when he retires from the NFL. Sources told Marchand the plan is for Brees to be groomed as a potential replacement for Chris Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football. Like all NFL fans, we look forward to watching Drew continue his Hall of Fame career this fall, and we are confident in confident his post-playing career will be just as successful. NBC sports spokesman Greg Hughes said, Merchant noted the plan is to start Brees as a game analyst for Notre Dame football games on Saturdays and a studio analyst for Sunday Night Football in America on Sundays before he joins Al Michaels' successor, Mike Tirico, on Sunday Night Football. This is apparently something of a blow for ESPN, considering Merchant reported the network was willing to wait for Brees and wanted him to be part of its Monday Night Football broadcast. What's more, ESPN attempted to hire Tony Romo away from CBS as well as Peyton Manning and Phillip Rivers. Romo stayed with CBS. Manning declined, and Rivers elected to continue to his playing career on the Indianapolis Colts. While Brees, 41, will eventually be in the announcing booth, his Saints still have a Super Bowl hope this season. They are coming off 3 straight NFC South titles and missed the Super Bowl by a single game during the 2018 campaign following a heartbreaking loss to the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship game. That featured a controversial no call on possible pass interference. Brees has a Super Bowl ring, 2 Offensive Player of the Year awards, and 13 Pro Bowl selections on his resume, and is well positioned to add to that in the coming season or two, with a supporting cast of Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara among others. When is he done building that resume? We will have a chance to build one in the announcing world as well. So, Drew Brees is going to NBC Sports. What's going on, Micro Mike? We got to wait for Gridiron to get in. As soon as he gets in, you can call in and we could talk a little bit. Jordan Hamilton says, TROX sounds like a reporter right now. Appreciate that. Yeah, Mike Tirico, Rick H, is going to be replacing Al Michaels. So it's going to be Mike Tirico and Drew Brees. But what's going on, Chris? What's going on, Rick H? What's going on, Shane? See if I missed anybody else. But, yeah, I mean, that is an actual, for me, I'm actually liking that. I want to see Drew Brees, after his playing career, be an announcer or something of some sort. So for him to actually take a NBC and do Sunday Night Football games, that's going to be awesome. I think he could bring a great dynamic to the game of football, via the announcers. All right, Micro Mike. Miss Johnson says, I'm not sure how my boy Drew will transition to analyst, but good for him. Let's get him another ring first. Who dat? Hey, absolutely. I've been wanting him to get a ring since a second ring since 2018. I thought 2018 and 2019. I thought both years he had a great shot, but I can't even explain how they failed. That's a perfect conundrum of the refs messing it up. Shane says, Travis, the Lakers beat the Supersonics in the 90s. Yeah, but man, I wish the NBA would incorporate the Supersonics again. Seattle definitely needs a team. Micro Mike says, Brees would be a great analyst. Love the guy. Absolutely, Micro Mike. And I love the couple videos that you put out, the LeGarrette Blunt one, and then the what do you call it? The War Game one. Seattle has enough team, says Yuki. Yeah, but I mean, it's not the same, for basketball, to see that, what do you call it? The Seattle Supersonics, or also known as the Seattle Sonics, don't have a football or a basketball team. Just like just like St. Louis. It feels weird not seeing, a team like when they had the Rams. Lakers beat Supersonics today was a good day. Ice Cube. Absolutely. Yeah, if you guys are not subscribed to Micro Mike, definitely do so. Great content creator. He's a Detroit Lions YouTuber. Great channel. Has anyone heard of the MLFB's Major League Football? Supposedly they are starting next year. What's going on, Casinos Triple Sevens? How's it going? I have not. Definitely, I'll look into that. But hey, the more football leagues, the better. Because absolutely, Shane, Vancouver Grizzlies, absolutely. The more football teams that are out there, I think it would be better because then one can finally try to rival the NFL, and then the NFL would have to step up their game even more and bring better competition, better games, and so on and so forth, to where it's a win for everybody. The Major League Football, the NFL, XFL, things like that, CFL. If they can all come together and rival each other and bring better competition and things like that, then we're definitely going to have better competitions. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that, Casino. I appreciate that. But I do want to talk a little bit about the NBA. On the 7th, they came out with a report. I wanted to bring that up to your guys' attention as well. Let me find it real quick. Oh, okay. Well, that report would have been false because they just came out 9 minutes ago. Um, and came out because on the 7th they were saying that there could be a where players will actually have to pay back their last paycheck. Uh, due to the work stoppage. But as of what do you call it? A few minutes ago, the NBA will pay players full paychecks on April 15th amid COVID-19 pandemic. This is by Tyler Conway. NBA teams will pay players their full paychecks on April 15th. The league announced in a memo Thursday. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reported that NBA and NBPA could not come to an agreement on withholding a percentage of players' checks in an escrow account to protect against games being canceled amid the corona pandemic. Negotiations are expected to continue before May 1st. Same comes for players. The NBA indefinitely postponed its season last month after Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID-19. Nearly every other major sports league worldwide has since ceased operations and there is no clear timetable for sports to resume. In this event, the 2019-2020 NBA season does resume. It's considered unlikely that fans would be allowed in attendance. The league has discussed multiple contingency plans for continuing the season, including a centralized location in Las Vegas. However, it seems almost certain at this point that the NBA will be forced to cancel at least some regular season games as a maneuver that would automatically trigger the force majeure clause. It's MAJEURE clause. In the collective bargaining agreement, players would lose 1% of their salary for each canceled game per the CBA. Most teams had a 65 game played at that time of the season's postponement. In the event of a canceled game, players would be forced to pay back salary they received over their allotted percentage. If a player is unable to pay that money back, it would be taken out of their wages for the following season. The NBA holds 10% of players' salaries in a escrow account already, so the amount players would have to pay back would ultimately be determined by the league's accounting when the 2019-2020 season ends or is canceled. Most of the lost revenue would come from paying back television partners that would not receive the amount of games agreed upon in their contracts. Other factors like ticket sales and concessions would also be lost, but take up a far less slice of the revenue pie. The NBA appears nowhere near the formal cancellation of games, so negotiations may be the best thing for all parties to avoid in financial fiasco next season. So, shout out to the NBA. They don't have to pay their checks back just yet, but there could be a possibility that they would have to pay back a portion of their contract. What's going on, John Brooks? Appreciate that, brother. What's going on? James Willis says, Happy Good Friday. Happy Good Friday to you too, brother. Travis, you want sushi? As long as it's California rolls, absolutely. I don't do that raw fish stuff. I think the NFL buys the league out when they start to gain steam. You know, Chris, that could be a possibility. I turned 52 Sunday. Well, shout out to you, James Willis. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. Health and wealth for the new year for you. Cruz says, Hey, what's up, Trox and Blitz? Sorry I didn't come in here when it started, but I won't be able to talk in the stream because I found out my dad has COVID. Sorry about that, guys. Have a great night. Hey, Cruz, my prayers and thoughts are with you. Gridiron is not with us right now. He is currently still at work. But I'm sure he's going to send his prayers out to your dad to make a speedy recovery, brother. Sushi is just another name for this bait. James, I just turned 55 today, says Rick H. Well, happy birthday, Rick H. James Willis says, yes, please, everybody, check your temp twice a day. Absolutely, James. If you're feeling somewhat sick, even if it's not a full-on cold or something like that, please stay home. Please wash your hands. when you cough or sneeze or whatever, do it in your arm or do it, inside your shirt, just so you're not trying to spread, you know, the sneeze or the cough or anything like that. We do have to take this serious, because the more serious we do get about COVID 19, the faster we can, destroy COVID 19. Antonio Hightower says, to be honest, Chris, I don't think they need to. XFL would have never been a competitor. The AAF had the right idea, being a developmental league, but pushed it by trying to get signed rookies to play in the AAF. And that's one thing I don't understand about, the NFL. Why don't they have a development league? You have the NBA who has the G League. You have the MLB who has the minor leagues. You have hockey who has, their, minor leagues. Why isn't football having a minor league? you know, and I think you could bring about better competition. The guys that need more grooming, things like that, they could get the proper coaching and things like that to where, they're still able to play meaningful games and be able to, uh, you know, work up and try to build into being an NFL player. Instead of being a bench player or a special teamer or, a practice squad guy, now you got an opportunity to get meaningful reps in game time situations in a developmental league. And that is one thing that I would want to see that the NFL do, is bring about a development league. Antonio says, to be honest, the XFL was doomed to fail. I didn't expect it this early, though. Rick H says, NFL used to have a developmental league. Originally, it was the WLAF and became the NFL Europe. They were in business 28 years. Wow, that's actually crazy. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't keep that. You know, develop these young guys. Hey, this one goes out to Shane Skidmore.
Say what?
It says, Travis, let's all agree that Derek is Steve Harvey. James Willis says the USFL. Yeah, that was ran by one Mr. Donald Trump and killed that league by trying to have it compete with the NFL. College football is kind of like a developmental league, says Yuki. It got popular and they wouldn't get the TV deals that they would have in the States. Absolutely, Chris. Michigan Panthers League Championship. Too much money now with NCAA football and together with NFL will never work again. Let me bring up the mailbag real quick because we can go ahead and get that out the way and answer some questions. I do appreciate each and every single one of you guys that have taken the time uh, to go ahead and ask questions for the mailbag. So I'm going to read some of the questions out. All right, Yuki came out with one, says, what do you think the 49ers should do this offseason and who should they draft? Um with the 49ers, I feel that they need to stay where they're at and just pick best player available. Uh, get the best player available for what they need. And I think that the 49ers will still be right on track as they was a season ago and, competing for a Super Bowl title. They might take a step back because a lot of the teams that have made it to the Super Bowl at least had one bad year. Um, you know, if they've built the right way. And I think that the 49ers has built the right way. I think the 49ers need a corner and a wide receiver. Yeah, they might also need some defensive line help and offensive line help, losing Garnett and also losing DeForest Buckner. I do think that they do need a cornerback, obviously with Richard Sherman up there in age. And, it's never too many to have, another wide receiver on board, especially losing Emmanuel Sanders. Both of those warrant an opening. But I definitely think that they should stay their course. Don't trade up. If you can move back and get a couple extra picks and still get your guy, I definitely think then you could be able to, build through the draft. Just like they have been. And shout out to oh, I forgot his first name, Lynch. John Lynch. Shout out to John Lynch for being a real general manager and really building a team. Yep, absolutely, Rick. Niners need cornerback, wide receiver, defensive end that can contain the edges. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners go and get another running back. Somebody that they can kind of groom. And, because as you've seen from the Super Bowl, when they failed to run the football in the second half, that's where things went south for them. Because all they had to do was run the football in that second half, and the championship was theirs. It was when they tried to start passing too much, they became one-dimensional, and it was easier for them to, lose the ball game. What's going on, Damien? I mean, absolutely, Yuki. If Henry Ruggs can land at the 49ers pick, absolutely. I believe that they have what, the 13th pick. Um, let me get exact numbers though, real fast. Okay, right here they have they have the 13th overall pick from the Indianapolis Colts, and they have the 31st pick. So Henry Ruggs could be a very an option for them. I don't really see too much outside of the Raiders. If the Raiders don't go in the direction of quarterback, I think that Ruggs could go to the Raiders. Uh, but outside of that, yeah, I don't really see because I know Jacksonville would need a defender. The Browns, Browns are almost set. Outside of offensive line, Arizona needs an offensive lineman. Carolina is going to go defense. Chargers probably quarterback. Miami quarterback. Giants defense. Uh, You know, the Jets are going to try to go best player available. Raiders possibly. Well, the Jets could go wide receiver as well. So if they can get past the Jets or the Raiders, I think that Ruggs the third can go to the San Francisco 49ers. Absolutely. You know, and then Tampa Bay could probably pick a offensive lineman and, you know, try to protect Tom Brady. Yeah, Javon Kinlaw is he's a beast. Absolutely. You know, if you lose out on Ruggs, I definitely think that Kinlaw would be the next best available for you guys. And that would actually help with the edge, as Rick H was saying. Absolutely, Rick. Yep. And that's really your guys' two biggest weaknesses is offensive line and running back. Hey, this one's for Jorge with the comment of the day. Says, just need to draft a new coach. Trust me, I know what happened in Miami. Rick's on point. If the 49ers line didn't get you a quarterback, we're running hard. Yuki says CJ Henderson or Denzel Mims are useful too. I could see Denzel Mims with the Panthers. He has familiarity with the head coach. Shane says, Travis, do you like the Detroit Lions gray jersey? Um, I think it's all right. I actually love the black jersey. Uh, because when you think of the NFC North, you always think of the black and blue division. You know, you got the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Detroit Lions. You think of the black and blue division. You know, hard nosed, smash mouth defense that's gonna go out there and and run down your throat and ask questions later. Yeah, Buckner was a huge loss for the defense. They really chose Eric Armstead and D Ford over maybe their best D lineman, says Antonio Hightower. I could see Wirfs and Taylor, or actually what I have for the Buccaneers is Wirfs and J.K. Dobbins. Because outside of really pass protection, I think that J.K. Dobbins is a all around back outside of pass protect. Welcome back, Jordan. Yeah, absolutely, Shane. And that's what I was waiting for. I was so waiting for the all black and blue Lions uniform. That would have been so out cold. The Heart of Detroit says Troxel, Lions do not have a smash mouth D. We need to be kicked out of the black and blue. Yeah, I do like the all blue where they go the blue jerseys and then the blue pants. I absolutely love that. In fact, actually, when I play Madden 19, that's actually my home jerseys. I do the all blue at home, and either the white with the gray pants or the color rush grays for road jerseys. Antonio Hightower says Becton might be there at 14, but he shouldn't be a day one starter. Mekhi Becton though is he's brutal. Like I like his game, but I do see a few flaws in it. You know, I think with some good coaching, you know, if he's not a day one starter, he's definitely a year two starter. Jorge coming in with that smoke. I love it. Says, the heart of Detroit. The only black and blue will be Matt Patricia's eyes when kicked out of the building. Oh, man. Hey, shout out to Jorge. Lions Blue look like the Blue Man Group. But I'm going to go to the next question. Uh, it's by Jordan Hamilton. It says, will Tua fall in the draft due to his failed physical? Also, who should draft him? Um, Definitely a great question, Jordan. Uh, I think that he's probably gonna go either to the Miami Dolphins or the Chargers or also the Raiders. I think one of those three teams can draft him. Uh, where at it kind of really depends on what the Lions do at number three. But as far as him falling, I do feel that he's gonna fall out of out of the top five or top four, I should say. Uh, if every team stays the same. Nah, Damien. Tua's not going to the Bengals. They are gun ho on Joe Burrow. Yuki says, "I see Tua going to the trash can." I mean, he very well could be. You know, there's never been a real quarterback out of the Alabama University, uh, you know, uh, that could really be able to, you know, be a day one starter or a, you know, starter in the NFL. You know, between Alabama and, you know, the Ohio State Buckeyes, I don't see starting quarterbacks coming out of there. You know, and even as the late last what 19 years, I don't really see anybody out of my University of Michigan being a starter in the NFL. You know, that's just not who they produce. Uh, you know, Alabama is a defensive school or a what do you call it? A weapon type of school. Like if you need corners, safeties, linebackers, linemen, wide receivers, tight end, running back, maybe they might be a little banged up. Uh, you know, guys like that, you go to Alabama. You don't go to Alabama for quarterbacks. Uh, as far as, you know, Ohio State, same thing. You go offensive linemen, defensive linemen, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, linebackers, corners, safeties. You know, you don't go to, you know, Ohio State for a quarterback. And if you do, shame on you. Sorry, Washington Redskins fans, but shame on you. Um, you know, but as far as Tua, I definitely think that, you know, I definitely agree. Let me see who said it though. Uh, Okay, it's by James Willis. He said, Phil physical could be a screen, like a smoke screen. Absolutely. I mean, that could very well be. I feel that it is actually the Miami Dolphins that are putting out that, oh, he failed a physical, just so that it can deter Detroit not saying, oh, hey, we're going to draft him. How about you come trade up? So they're trying to say, no, he failed a physical. Lions ain't going to take him. So guess what? He falls to us and we could take him. So I definitely think that, it's probably either the three teams that I named, the Miami Dolphins, the LA Chargers, or the Las Vegas Raiders. I think one of those three teams put out the smoke screen of, oh, Tua failed, the physical. Oh yeah, absolutely, Rick H. I feel the same way too. Tua's gonna be another mediocre journeyman, probably a backup. What's going on, buffed up? Probably gonna be a backup quarterback at best. That's not a knock on him. It's just, I don't know. Maybe you should have chose a different school. I mean, I hope not, especially with the latest involvement of the Detroit Lions. Uh, phoning an interview for Tua. I hope that they're buying the hype, just because I want them to bite on trading back with the fifth pick and the 26th pick, and so the Detroit Lions can get the fifth pick with Jeffrey Okuda, and then with the 26th pick go get AJ Epinenza, and then with the 35th pick it's either Jonathan Taylor or J.K. Dobbins. And I think whoever doesn't take Jonathan Taylor gets J.K. Dobbins. So for like Rick, he said he thinks that's going to be Taylor. If he doesn't get Taylor, because say the Detroit Lions pick Taylor, I think they can get J.K. Dobbins. And say if the Buccaneers jump up and go get Taylor, then I think that the Detroit Lions will go get J.K. Dobbins. But if they don't get one of those two players, uh, I have a funny feeling. I mean, I like Swift too, James Willis, but with Swift, he's not a good pass pro either, just like J.K. Dobbins. But I think that they both could be very good, and in the run game, absolutely. Even out the backfield catching passes, I think that both of those fellas can do very well. It's just as far as pass protect and being an all around back, it's really just Jonathan Taylor and nobody else. So if you want a franchise running back, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor. And with the Detroit Lions, they've never had a franchise running back since Barry Sanders. You kind of got to take your chance with the Jonathan Taylor, just because of the fact that you don't know what you're going to get with a Kerryon Johnson. He's not proven himself to be healthy. But if a J.K. Dobbins falls because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go out and grab Jonathan Taylor because they don't have a running back, period. Then I'm okay with a Swift or J.K. Dobbins, or even a shout out to Man Beast McFarlane. I wouldn't be mad at any of those picks either. But as far as for the Lions' sake, like, you have to go and get the you got to go get a Jonathan Taylor, because Kerryon Johnson is one injury away from being cut. Let's be honest. Because he will be labeled as a bust. A great athlete, a phenomenal talent, but just couldn't stay healthy, and a la Javid Best. Right now I compare Kerryon Johnson to Javid Best phenomenal when healthy. Phenomenal. But just can't stay healthy to be phenomenal. That's why I would say the Lions need to go get a Jonathan Taylor. But I also see the point where Rick H's, Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to go get a Jonathan Taylor. Because you have to solidify the run game. And if anybody knows, Tom Brady knows, if you can't run the football, you're not going to win on offense. Oh, absolutely. Kerryon Johnson is more talented than Amir Abdullah, Mikael LaSure, all those guys. Absolutely. Even Javid Best was more talented than Amir Abdullah and Mikael LaSure. It's just, Javid Best and Mikael LaSure and Amir Abdullah and, Kerryon Johnson and anybody else you want to throw in the mix couldn't stay healthy or couldn't keep the football in their hand. How many times did Mikael LaSure have foot problems? How many times did Amir Abdullah fumble? How many times has Javid Best went down with an injury? How many times has Kerryon been down with an injury? It's just, we need that guy to be that every down back that can, be the jack of all trades starter, where you could pass, protect, run, be elusive, things like that, and really be the next best thing since Barry Sanders. I'm not saying be Barry Sanders. No, absolutely not, because there's nobody going to be like that. That type of running, just as well as Emmitt Smith and all the other greats in this league, that style of running is probably long gone. Because really, if you do that, you're probably going to be out the league by 26. Because that was real smash mouth football. Back in the days, man, we had good football. And that was all around. And like an Eddie George from the Titans. Man, we've had some real good, football. Jorge says, I'm a cowboy, and Javid knows his family personally, and Javid had way too many concussions. Oh, yeah, absolutely. James Will says Barry was 5'8" and 203. He also led the league in, in negative yardage while being superior talent. Michael Johnson says, you never know. There's always somebody better than somebody. Absolutely. I feel like, Calvin Johnson could have been better than, Jerry Rice. And, Jerry Rice holds all the titles still. Barry Sanders would have destroyed Emmitt Smith. But Emmitt Smith holds all the titles. But I'll move on to the next question. Shane Skidmore says, what is your favorite Detroit Lion, Tigers, Pistons, and Red Wing jersey? Well, for the Detroit Lions, I do love the all blue. For the Detroit Tigers, I will say I do. Well, I'll give a player for the Tigers. I do like Miguel Cabrera. I do think that we should have traded him long ago. But I understood why you had to keep him, because obviously losing all the other stars, you still needed some sort of star power to sell tickets. The Pistons jerseys, I do absolutely love the new ones. The red with the blue stripe. But I actually like the other ones that they had in, I believe it was 2005. It was the red jerseys with the blue stripes down the side, not down the middle. I absolutely love those jerseys. I actually have a customized, authentic red one from like the 2005, I believe, season. So I own one of those. So I do love the red jersey. for the Detroit Pistons. And with the Red Wings, the all red boys are nice with the white trim on it. Uh, you know, and my favorite player is Steve Yzerman. Favorite Piston um, would probably have to be either. I mean, man, favorite Piston. That one's a hard one because I got like two from each era of the championship eras. I liked Bill Lambier and I liked Isaiah Thomas, and then I liked from the '04 team. I like Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, and Ben Wallace. But my all-time favorite player in the NBA is probably have to be what do you call it? Is gonna have to be Rasheed Wallace. I followed him all the way from his North Carolina days to his Portland Trailblazers and beyond. Like every stop, I was rooting for Rasheed Wallace. I mean, when he got mad and got attacked, he turned into a different guy. And that guy, he could not be stopped. The most underrated player, absolutely, I have to go with what James Willis said, was Tayshaun Prince. Absolutely. Most underrated player, Tayshaun Prince. Buffed Up says, you like the Chrome Pistons jerseys? I do not. Nope, I like the all red ones with the new one would be the all red with the blue stripes down the center of the jersey. But my all-time favorite is the all red with the blue stripes down the side. Ben Wallace Bulls jersey is better. Thanks for that, Pistons. Hey, he went after the bread after that for that one. But this one just came in 19 minutes ago. I should save it for next for Monday, but because we're kind of having fun today, hopefully Gridiron Blitz is okay. Been about an hour and still not home. So prayers up to you, Gridiron. Hopefully you're all right. But it comes from Antonio Hightower. Says, what do you think the Lions should prepare if Jared Davis isn't good this year? By drafting a linebacker, most of the linebackers on the team most likely won't be part of the future other than Jelani Tavai. Unless you're hoping on the development of Reggie Ragland in terms of the future at a position of huge importance in Matt Patricia's defense. I know you have discussed Davis more moving to edge, but he doesn't have the size or the technique needed to play the edge. I love him and the leadership and hard hat mentality he brings to the team. But to this point, he's been just as bad at everything. With the Lions picking up the linebacker coach from Tennessee, who has a good track record, and Jamie Collins, a guy who has been in this role before and played at a high level. I feel like this is his last chance. Then the draft with guys like Willie Gay, Kenneth Murray, Malik Harris, Logan Wilson, and even a guy like Simmons, who is more of a DB than a linebacker, but who brings generational versatility to your defense, and less than 5 guys in the entire league can. Many guys in the draft with the size, smarts, and athleticism needed to play the mic in the modern NFL. As a question to Vi's athleticism at Mike, but like him at other roles, I think the Lions have a good opportunity to draft a future replacement. And even if Davis turns a corner, now you have a top 15 linebacking core that can improve from year to year. Been thinking about this a lot for the past couple of months. So sorry for the long question. Well, that was a huge loaded question, Mr. Antonio Hightower. I mean, I wouldn't play Davis at the edge. I would play him more or less as like a more or less as an outside linebacker playing like an edge. So if it's like a 3-4 defense, he would be the outside linebacker rushing the passer or stopping the run. The closer he kind of is to the offensive line and defensive line, the better for him, because, you know, if he can learn the swim move and a quick bend, you know, that's where his biggest issue is. Jarrad Davis cannot bend properly in this system. I think he has the speed, the size, and all the tools to be a good linebacker. It's just a lot of his is technique. And, absolutely, over pursues. You know, then that's why I say, like, if he can bend, then it's a straight shot straight to the quarterback. You know, drop your hips, cut, and wrap up. You know, but he has to have the pass rush moves. You know, right now, Jarrad Davis has to have a hole open where he can run through and, you know, pretty much over pursue. You know, if he can learn a lot more hand techniques and, you know, engage and disengage and, you know, bend and do the things like an offensive line or defensive lineman, in the same sense of, you know, hey, okay, we got defensive lineman skills at the linebacker position as a kind of a blitzer lineman. I feel like, you know, Jarrad Davis would have a lot better career. You know, because he does have the speed. As far as his place on the team, I think it could be over. I really think that once his contract is up, he walks. I also believe that could be another knock on Bob Quinn to be fired if we have a failed season. Because Martha Ford would all she have to do is look at all the players he drafted and say, okay, who's still on this team and who's still contributing? That's not a long list. There's last year's draft by default. There's going to be this year's draft by default. But besides that, how many other players are still left on that team? You know, and that's where, you know, I feel like a Bob Quinn can be fired. Even if he fires Matt Patricia. You know, that's why I think that both of those guys will probably, like, quote unquote, step down over getting fired. Because once you get fired from the Detroit Lions, you don't get another job, really. What's going on, MC 2019 Hawks? How's it going, brother? What's going on, Jason Wilson? You know, but see, I would love to draft Isaiah Simmons. You know, even over Jeffrey Okudah, if we didn't spend so much money this offseason at the linebacker position. I think that right there gave the signal of we're not going to draft a lineman. Hold on, you guys. Be right back.
It's an LP beat.
All right, you guys. Sorry about that. That was actually the Gridiron Blitz. Told me he would not be able to make it due to work and family. So my prayers are out to you, brother. Uh, family always comes first, and also does work. So my prayers are out to you, brother. See you. Well, for me, I'll see you tomorrow, and then we'll see you back Monday on your channel 9:30. Uh, but I mean that's where I would kind of have a Jared Davis. I mean, I would love to draft an Isaiah Simmons, but the only issue for me is you spent so much money via free agency that now it goes back to, okay, if I'm Martha Ford, I'm gonna be asking Bob Quinn, okay, what are you doing with all this money? You went out and traded for a Reggie Ragland. You went out and drafted a Jelani Tavai. You drafted Jared Davis. You traded and re-signed a Christian Jones, a Jamie Collins. All these other guys, and it's just like, then you go out and draft another one. It's like, that does not make sense. If you follow the money or follow the trends, it does not make sense on any level of drafting an Isaiah Simmons. The only way I can see an Isaiah Simmons getting drafted is if you're throwing him solely on corner. If he's going to be your corner or your safety, okay, I can see an Isaiah Simmons then. Outside of that, I do not see us picking really a linebacker early in the draft. I could see us, day 3, taking a flyer on a guy. Hey, prove your worth on special teams, prove yourself on the practice squad. Maybe get a couple reps here and there, and see how you do. But as of right now, really, this is the last shot that Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia have of putting together a real team. If they fail this draft, they are out of chances. Outside of the trade deadline, but they might not even see the trade deadline. Because don't let them start 0-4 or 0-5. If they start 0-4 or 0-5, they're gone. They will be fired mid-season. And there will be no trade deadline for the Detroit Lions. Obviously they would have one, but the Detroit Lions would not take any calls or anything like that at the trade deadline unless they know that they're, say, going in a quote-unquote tank mode or rebuild or retool or whatever you want to call the word. That would be the only way. As far as hold on one quick second, you guys. All right, you guys. So I just got some breaking news. I'm gonna have one person call my cell phone number, and the quality is not gonna be there, but you might know him. So I'm gonna bring in this phone call, and we could talk to the people. So let me call him up right now.
What's going on with Mike?
What's going on, Micro Mike? How's it going, brother?
Oh, living the dream, living the dream. Hey, how's it going, chat, man? This is Micro Mike. We're going to talk some Lions football.
Absolutely. So I got a question for you, Micro Mike.
Yes, sir.
So there's been talks about an Isaiah Simmons getting drafted to the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
Would you take him, and where would you place him if so?
It all depends on the scenario that takes place. I believe in the trade down scenario, but if they decided to go ahead and take Isaiah Simmons, first off, he's a dynamic player, specifically in the linebacker spot, as well as a pass rusher, and can we say safety and cornerback. So he's literally a Swiss Army knife who can do it all. I think he would be something that Matt Patricia would love to have on his defense, terrorizing quarterbacks and letting them understand that they don't know what's coming their way because he can play so many positions. He would definitely be a positive to the Detroit Lions roster if they decided to go that route.
Okay. Now, if you're the general manager, so say if you're Bob Quinn, what would you do in this 2020 NFL draft?
The scenario that I would be looking for if I was the general manager, and I'm sure Bob Quinn's doing this as well, is the trade down scenario. Look, we don't need a quarterback at 3. We don't need Tua Tagovailoa. We don't need a Justin Herbert. We don't need a quarterback position. We need, though, a defensive blue-chip player that can be placed on the Lions' defense so we can make plays. We have players, but we don't have blue-chip players. So if I'm Bob Quinn, I know if I decided I wanted to trade down with Miami or if I wanted to trade down with the Chargers, that I can get a Derek Brown there. I can get a Okuda there. And those players will ultimately really help the Lions defense. They're quality players. Justin Okuda can shadow the wide receivers. He can really be a quality replacement for Darius Slay. Well, he would be a rookie, and it takes a little bit of time for a cornerback to adjust in the NFL, he would ultimately really solidify that secondary. If they decide to go Derek Brown in that spot, we know we need pass rush. We need to be able to stop the run, and Derek Brown can do it all. And we can get those players at the 5 and 6 spot. Also, we could pick up a late first-round pick or possibly 2 seconds with the trade back. That's huge because we need help on the offensive line. You got Cesar Ruiz. They could go that route if they wanted to go guard late in the first round. If they wanted to get a pick who you like and I loved as well is A.J. Epinesa, who would be there late in the first round, possibly even the second round. That would solidify the pass rush ability. If we pick up a little more second-round picks, we can get a running back as well. We need a running back. The Lions have not had a running back since Barry Sanders. We do have Kerryon, but he's injury-prone. We do have Bo Scarborough. All it takes is one injury for him, and we're in a bad situation again. So I think accumulating capital is exactly what Bob Quinn needs to do, and I think that ultimately that's what's going to happen in 13 days.
Absolutely, and I've been trying to tell people, like, the more draft capital and opportunity you have, if say a guy goes down, you have a replacement. Is it going to be a top tier replacement? No, it can't be, unless it's well, really there is none. If a top guy goes down, and your rookie is a day one starter, outside of really corner, you don't really have a viable backup. You're going to take some sort of hit. But if you have more opportunities at drafting a guy and a guy comes out and actually balls out of control, like say, how a Kenny Galladay did late in the third round, it was a hit for him. Oh, go ahead.
You're 100% correct there. And the more capital a team has, it gives the odds that they're going to get a quality player. The NFL draft can be a 50-50 shot. You can think a player could be a not missed player, but end up being a bust. So if you can get multiple picks, more capital in a draft, then you can hit on a player like a Kenny Galladay in the third round, like a Deshaun Hand in the fourth round. These are the type of things that needs to be needs to happen for a team such as the Detroit Lions to go from a mediocre, not good team to a much better team? You don't build through free agency. You build through the draft. And you got to knock the draft out of a park. Any team, if some of your subscribers there are fans of other teams, you don't build through free agency. You build through the draft. And if they did not have a quality free agency, whatever team they truly enjoy, don't worry. The draft is in 13 days, and they have the ability to really upgrade a roster and take their team to potentially the next level.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and that's why I was always saying that the Miami Dolphins have got to trade with the Detroit Lions, and I think that's where the the phone interview, for draft interview with Tua came about, because they're really trying to sell hey, the Detroit Lions can take a Tua, just so the Dolphins can, if they really want him, can move up. In a sense where, okay, you could get the 5th pick and the 26th pick, and maybe if they want to throw in another pick in, maybe a 3rd round pick or a 4th round or next year's 4th or something like that, then, by all means, the more the merrier. And especially if you can get an extra pick next year, in case of a Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia do get fired for a failed making the playoffs or competing for a playoff, then the next general manager and head coach has an extra ammunition to go to try to build their team.
100%. And hearing about how teams are not wanting to come up and get to it, we've heard these rumors this week. That's all smoke, and it's bull smoke. It's not real. Teams really want to get a quarterback, and we see it all the time. Literally, the Miami Dolphins purposely attempted to tank last year for Tua. They actually won a couple games, ended up being the 5th pick. They got 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. We're talking 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. They have the ability to move up. They have the capital. If you've noticed, the Chargers and the Miami Dolphins have not upgraded the quarterback position so far in free agency. We have quarterbacks out there that could do so. The reason they haven't done so is because they're going to take one in this draft. If you're a team like the Miami Dolphins, you need your franchise quarterback. You haven't had one since Dan Marino. They have all this capital. You're telling me they would rather risk it and stay there, potentially losing out a guy that they want, or give up a pick or two to get the guy who could potentially be your franchise quarterback for 15 years? To me, it's a no-brainer for the Miami Dolphins or the Chargers. They want the heir apparent to Phillip Rivers. If they think Tua is the guy, hey, you pull that trade because you need to have the quarterback. There's no other position more important to an NFL team, an NFL franchise, an NFL fan base than the quarterback position. They're going to move up, hopefully, and the Detroit Lions are going to get a lot of capital from the move up, and it'll be a win-win for both teams.
Oh, absolutely. Like the Detroit Lions can, go get maybe a Isaiah Simmons or a Jeffrey Okudah, match him up with a AJ Epinenza, and and like you said, maybe go get a top running back in this draft. Maybe a Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, 100%.
Now, I would definitely love a Jonathan Taylor here because he is a jack of all trades. He can pass pro, he can run, he can catch, he could do whatever you need.
Well, you're 100% right. There's game-changing running backs, and what's so good about this NFL draft is there's 3 quality running backs that's going to go late in the first round or potentially fairly mid to the second round. Guess what? If we acquire another first-round pick late in the first round, you probably could get a Taylor or a DeAndre Swift or a J.K. Dobbins if that's the route they're wanting to go. They understand they need a running game. It's so important. With that is also a guard or a tackle, depending where they want to put Big V. But you can't do this unless you acquire more capital. So trading back is vital for Bob Quinn, Matt Patricia, to change the narrative and the culture of this team. to a team that's always passing to finally you can run the football. We have not won a playoff game since when? Barry Sanders. Why? Because we could run the football. The times that teams win, if we've seen it in this last year in the playoffs, you've seen teams run the football, and that's how you win football games.
Prime example, look at the Cinderella story darlings, the Tennessee Titans. You know, when they stopped
100%.
running the football with Derrick Henry, it went south.
100%. He carried that team.
Absolutely.
They went and beat the New England Patriots, beat the Baltimore Ravens. How did they beat these juggernaut teams? Simply running the football. That's all you got to do. Because, first off, if you could run the football, it wears defenses down. If it wears defenses down, what happens in the fourth quarter? You're just simply handing the ball off, killing clock, and demoralizing the opposing defense. And that's how you win games when it comes into late in the cold time of the NFL in December. That's how you win. And it's no secret that's what the Lions need to do. You can get your blue-chip player in that early first-round pick. You can get another quality if they want to go defense or offensive line or running back late in the first round. And guess what? In the second round, we got an early second-round pick. So you can go ahead and get another playmaker, whether it be an offense or defense. That would be great.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and that's the one thing about, you know, this year that is really interesting is because, you know, with all these trade scenarios and, you know, the two teams that I could really see to move up is a Las Vegas Raider or a, you know, Miami Dolphins. Outside of that, I don't think a lot of these teams have enough draft capital to move up. You know, outside of the Dolphins and maybe the Las Vegas Raiders, unless they're really trying to mortgage the future in future drafts to move up.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And all it takes is two teams. All they got to do is compete over one individual they want, and then the Lions benefit. I could care less if 29 other general managers do not want to take a quarterback. I don't care. All I want is two teams to compete. And that's how we gain from the Detroit Lions is two teams competing. And we can really make a team much better. Picking three, yes, you can get a dynamic playmaker, but guess what? If you move back a couple, you can still get a dynamic playmaker and add more picks and add more talent to this roster, in which is needing a major amount of quality young talent that's in this draft.
Absolutely. Peace and Quiet says, do you think teams will look to trade with the New York Giants instead of the Lions so they don't have to give up as much capital?
Yeah, I could see that. There's potentially a couple ways that can go around. First off, teams could trade with the Washington Redskins if they really think that a quarterback's going to be taken with the Detroit Lions. Why is that a good thing for us? Because Burrow's going number one, Tua to then go two. Guess what happens, folks? The great Chase Young is there at three. They can either take the great player or another team like, say, the Giants, who really want to get Chase Young. They're willing to throw a boatload at us just to move up one pick. And guess what? If they decide to go Isaiah Simmons at 4, or if they want to go Akuda, it's there, and you're going to get much-needed help on the roster. If a team want to trade, say, the Miami Dolphins or the Chargers with the Giants, same scenario, and it's a win-win for the Lions. It's a no-win-lose situation.
Absolutely, and I think anybody that really trades with the Lions, they put themselves in a good position as well. You got the 3rd overall pick. You know, outside of the top 2 players, you got your picking of the rest of the players.
100%, and we don't need a quarterback right now, and that's why it's pushing the talent to us to where we have the ability to move back.
Absolutely.
These teams need quarterbacks. We don't, so we can still get the same player if we move back that we want at 3, at 5 or 6, and that's exactly what the situation we need to be in, because you can acquire more. And like the Miami Dolphins, again, went out of their way to tank. You're telling me they did all this, getting rid of the roster, picking up all this draft capital, to say, you know what, I'm going to just sit here and hope that this guy gets here. No way. That's insane. Go ahead and throw us another first-round pick and a second-round pick. You secure your guy for your next 15 years.
Yep, absolutely. And that's why I really have pinpointed it's going to be the Dolphins that's going to be moving up. What are they going to give us? That remains to be seen, but I really think that it's going to be the Dolphins to move up to the Detroit Lions' 3rd overall pick, giving up their 5th round pick and either the 26th pick and something else, or just the 5th and 26th. And even if that is the case, like, I did a mock draft. If I move back to still get the Jeffrey Okudah at 5, and at either 26 get either a Jonathan Taylor if I know AJ Epineza is going to be there with the 35th pick, or vice versa, and then you go with the normal draft, as planned, you're still putting so many holes, you're plugging so many holes that, Bob Quinn has really just been plugging one, moving it to another spot, plugging one, moving it to another spot. Because really in the last 5 years, that's what he's technically, I can base his tender here, has been, okay, you have a Darius Slay. Have you ever put somebody opposite of him? You have a Snacks. Do you have somebody next to him? A Trey Flowers. Do you have somebody next to him? Like, it's always been like, do you have that player? Where if you have, if you take care of business via the draft and actually get guys that are going to be here for multiple contracts, now you're really starting to build and plug in holes and really building a franchise.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And you have to have the talent. And we got holes. They need to be filled. And guess what, folks? We're not just talking about the first round pick and the second round pick. We have 2 5ths and 2 3rds. We have the ability to move back up into the second round. So even if we move back from the first, gain another second round pick, you could still move up from the 3rd into the second round and secure another second. So you could leave with 2 first round picks and 3 second round picks. That's 5 players right there. That is an immediate insane amount of talent that you just brought in on your team after everything that was done in free agency. You could secure your guard or tackle. You could secure your defensive tackle. You can secure your running back position. You can secure a cornerback. I mean, holy smoke, right there, that's exactly what is required for a team that went 3-12-1 to turn it around like the 49ers did. And by the way, Mr. Matthew Stafford's coming back and he's healthy.
Yeah.
If we take this draft right, this team can turn it around quick.
Absolutely. And, for me, the key for Matthew Stafford to be super successful is in my mock draft, I had us taking 2 offensive guards. And then, a lot of fans forgot about, us picking up an undrafted free agent that me and I know you was super high on, which was Bo Benchwa. So that gives 100%. You at least 3 offensive guards on the team. Next year you're still going to go with the offensive guard to have, at least 4. So you got 2 at each position for depth and things like that.
100%. You build through the trenches. You cannot have enough tackle and guards for the offense and defense. When it comes to offense, if you get an injury, it's so important to have an individual that can play that position and immediately not be a downgrade, because when the quarterback goes down, like Matthew Stafford, you're basically your season's done. We went 0-8 without Matthew Stafford. How do we do that? We got to be able to build that offensive lineup. Also, it helps out the running game. There will be injuries next year. We will have injuries on the offensive line. If we have great depth by the draft picks, it's not going to be a big-time drop-off. It will be very important. Bo Benchwa is developing, and again, we predicted him to be with the Detroit Lions. Lo and behold, he's there. But he needs help. he's going to need help.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have a legitimate right guard right now. And so we need to get one in this draft, unless they make Big V guard and then we get a tackle. Either way, you still got to have that depth. You must have that depth. And by the defensive line, if you don't have a defensive line, how are you going to win football games? Look what the Lions happened to us last year. Quarterback sitting there 7, 8 seconds in the pocket, picking our talented secondary apart because we did not have a good defensive line that could get after the quarterback and stop the run. We kept getting injured, and they were getting gassed. Result, we were getting crushed. So we need to build the trenches up. So guys out there who's listening to the TROX and Grid show right now need to understand that if you don't get whelmed and we take a couple guards, don't be upset about it. That's the correct move to make because keeping your quarterback upright, running the football, is designed to have a quality offensive line. Same with the defensive line. The big guys are the most important piece, besides the quarterback, on an NFL team.
Absolutely. And that was one reason why I got so upset with Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, letting go of a Graham Glasgow. Out of 4 quarterbacks, he gave up 0 sacks. And you let him walk. Yeah. You drafted the guy, and you let him walk.
That was a very interesting move because Graham Glasgow not only could play right guard, he could play left guard, and most importantly, he could play center. When you have an individual that can play all these positions, when injuries happen, he is an extremely important piece. Letting him go, it hurt. It did hurt. He's getting paid like a top 5 guard right now in the NFL with Denver, but it's taking a risk. We did this with Larry Warford. We let him walk. He went to the Pro Bowl with the Saints. He's a great guard for them. So in this draft, he's got to make up for letting Graham Glasgow walk by getting a solid guard to protect Stafford and run the football.
Absolutely, and look at what do you call it, Laken Tomlinson too. Goes to the Super Bowl this year.
Oh man, that's a painful one, man. Laken Tomlinson, draft him in the first round. Sucks with us, does great with San Francisco.
Absolutely, I was just like, what is it? Is it just us? Which now I'm starting to think, is it us?
Oh man, I don't know. I think they had some of that Flint water here, and when they left the state, and maybe the quality H2O they got had to keep playing better.
Hey, we definitely need a Bobby Boucher at linebacker, though.
Oh man. It'd be a great pick, For me, if we drafted Bobby Boucher in the second round, if he's available, you gotta make the pick. He can play so well on our team.
Absolutely.
And by the way, he does make quality H2O, so that Flint water, it would really help the rest of the 55 players, by the way, now on an active roster. So, yeah, man, I can't wait for this draft to see what they do. It's so exciting. And, I'm happy that, you're going live, you're talking about this stuff every day, and people are listening and really enjoying the content. So I have no idea how many likes right now on your live stream. But if you guys have not hit the like, hit that like button. And it really helps bring out the content to smaller YouTubers because the legacy media is bearing down with all their Sports Center, with all their ESPN, and people who are YouTubers, smaller YouTubers like ourselves, our content gets pushed down. Yet the quality of what you say is very important, and we literally, I think you said Amani Owarie, Bo Benchois, as well as TJ Hawkinson would be picked. And lo and behold, those 3 players are on the Detroit Lions team. That's really extremely hard and difficult for individuals such like us to nail on some of these players.
Oh, absolutely. Like I wanted TJ Watt from Wisconsin back when he was a draft pick and, win a couple picks right after us. I believe that was the year that we picked, I think that was the year that we picked Jared Davis.
Yep, correct. Yeah, that's a stinger, man. When I see him have success, it's a stinger. It truly is.
Absolutely.
And Jared Davis is another individual that he needs competition right now. And so if they picked up a linebacker, I'm all for it because look, we need to get better. We need to get better in the linebacker position. We need to be able to cover tight ends. We need to be able to cover and stop some of these pass yards. And I think this year is a make or break for Mr. Jared Davis. So getting competition at that position would be very nice.
Oh, absolutely. Also, Antonio Hightower says Damian Lewis would be a nice pickup. In my mock draft, I did have the Detroit Lions drafting Damian Lewis.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that would be. Look, man, what we do last year, we had a really bad tight end group. Not last year, but the year before. What did they do? They turned around, signed Jesse James, and drafted T.J. Hawkinson. Sorry. So in this year, I know we got Jamie Collins. I know we picked up Rugland. But you know what? If there's another linebacker there, if they wanted to go Isaiah Simmons or a Zach Bond late in the first round, don't hesitate to do it. Turn a weakness into a strength in 1 year. I'm all down for that.
Absolutely. You know, and our biggest hole right now is that offensive guard position. Outside of, really a contingency plan for what happens if Kerryon Johnson goes down.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, you got to do it. It's a need. It's an absolute need. It's not a want. A guard position or tackle, just depending whatever route Big D plays. It's not a want, it's a need. It's required. You're not going to win unless you can protect the quarterback and open up holes for the running back. They got to come out of this. In my opinion, the Lions got to come out of this with a guard in between the first two rounds. They got to come out with a guard. They do, because if we don't get a guard in there, man, Stafford broke his back two years in a row. You can't do a third. It can't happen. And Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn be out of a job if they don't get one.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm gonna pull up the mock draft that I did, and kind of name how I went about it. Now I'm gonna throw in the trade with the Miami Dolphins for the 5th and 26th pick. So
Okay, I like it.
So with the 5th pick, the Detroit Lions go Jeffrey Okudah. With the 26th pick, it's either Jonathan Taylor or AJ Epinenza. With the 35th pick, it's whoever you didn't pick with the 26th pick. With the 67th pick, I picked Julian Okwara, another edge guy. So you would have AJ Epinenza and Julian Okwara, who Okwara's brother is on the current Detroit Lions team. And then at 85, I went with Damian Lewis, inside offensive lineman, also known as the guard. And then also at pick 109, I went with Solomon Kinley, another offensive guard. So I went back-to-back offensive guard because I wanted to really bolster that offensive guard position.
100%. I love it.
I
love it.
And then
I love that you went two guards.
Absolutely, because I mean, outside of Bo Benchwa, who do we really have? We have I forgot his first name, Garnett, from the 49ers. Was, who is he? And
he was an injured player. That's who he was, and you can't bank on injured players. We know how that worked out with Ezekiel Ansah.
Absolutely.
You just can't do it, man, because if you're banking on the injured player, you're banking on your job. Because these guys get injured, you're done. The best ability is availability.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
You can't have it. TJ Lane was injured a lot. It hurt us.
Yeah.
When it comes to Snacks Harrison, injury, it hurt us. Mike Daniels, injury, it hurt us.
Rick Wagner,
injury, it hurt us. You see, we had, 20 people on IR by the end of the year?
Yeah.
That kills a team. And you need depth. Depth is vital. If they doubled up like that, I ain't going to complain.
Oh, absolutely. And then with the 149th pick, I picked Julian Blackman. He's a safety.
Hey, I like these picks. I like how you're putting depth at these positions, and that's key. That's 100% key. And these guys, I mean, look what Bob Quinn's done with these mid-round picks.
Oh,
They'll
absolutely.
probably get played.
Absolutely.
They will probably be playing. And so you need this depth at safety. You need depth at quarterback. You need depth at the defensive line. You have 2 edge rushers. I ain't gonna complain. Our edge rusher last year was atrocious.
Yeah,
You
especially
start
when they
throwing
were just
waves.
rushing 3.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was garbage. It was garbage. And now you give an AJ Epinesa on the opposite side of Trey Flowers. That's sick because before the NFL Combine, AJ Epinesa was looking to be a top 15 pick.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
can get him late in the first round. Guess what? That's a steal.
Yep. And I've even had him fall to the 35th pick.
Yep. Yeah, it very well could happen. And I would rather watch the film, and the film suggests that this guy's a disruptor. Throw him on our defensive line, and just what he'll do in college is what he'll do with us. He will disrupt the quarterback, and all those individuals that we got in the secondary, yeah, they'll ball out.
Absolutely. And then with the 166th pick, I had to go, quarterback. I went with Nate Stanley from Iowa. He will have familiarity with AJ Epinesa and a TJ Hawkinson, especially with TJ Hawkinson, a position of a quarterback's, safety valve, knows what he's good at, knows what he's not, can put him in good position if, say a Matthew Stafford goes down, because really I don't trust Chase Daniel. I know he's carved us up a lot in the past, but you got a young guy you could still groom, and then by the time, maybe 2022, if, the team has just not converted, and the team goes in a different direction, Matthew Stafford's contract can then be moved, and then you have a guy that you've groomed for a few years.
Yep, and it's no problem grooming a guy. People say you can't draft quarterbacks later rounds for grooming. I don't know, man. I think it worked out pretty well for Gardner Minshew. That guy came out of nowhere.
Hey, also worked pretty darn well with New England with Tom Brady.
That one worked out real well. If we could get the next Tom Brady in a late round, I would bow to whoever drafted that guy.
Hey, absolutely. I'd be like, hey, I'll let you guys do the job.
No, 100%. 100%, man.
Then
that's the job of Bob Quinn. We have to acquire quality players even in the mid-rounds. That's how you're successful. If you can only get good players in the first round, you're not going to be a successful team. You got to be able to acquire talent in the mid-rounds to late rounds as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and that's why, at pick 182, I went with a Benjamin Victor out of Ohio State, a wide receiver. He's a 6'4" body at 199, and you picked him up at 182.
Guess what? That's the type of body they need because guess what? Marvin Jones, this is his last year as a Detroit Lion. They're going to need to have a guy opposite of Kenny Galladay. And a 6'4" player, 199, that's the size and type that would fit in fairly well with what we got and what Darrell Bevel looks for when it comes to a wide receiver on the outside.
Absolutely. And then with, the Detroit Lions' last pick, Mr. Irrelevant for the 7th round for us, is the AJ Green corner. I kind of started and ended with the corner because, what happens if our kick returner, Jamal Agnew, keeps fumbling? We would have a guy that maybe could take his spot or give competition to his spot to make a better Jamal Agnew.
100%, man. That's facts right there. You can't turn the ball over. Jamal Agnew right now, he doesn't benefit on defense. He's a special teams guy. If you can get a guy that can actually play defense and do contributing on special teams, he has a higher value than a guy that is just strictly playing on special teams.
Absolutely. And as Bob Quinn has mentioned numerous times, you know, if you're going to do one thing, do it at an elite level. You know, so if you're going to be a special teamers, be the best special team player anybody's ever seen.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's complete truth there. I mean, we need to have a good special teams, and that I know people are like, oh come on man, special teams it's not useful. Yeah, when you're pinning people back, and when you're getting touchdowns on a kick return, that sure does swing a game. I remember Jamal Agnew getting a touchdown when we played the New York Giants a couple years ago, and that solidified our 2-0 start. Getting that type of swing really helps motivates a team. It brings momentum back, and that's even why I suggest the Lions need to draft a punter. I know people say punter, but we don't have Sam Martin anymore. He signed away with the Denver Broncos, and Braden Mann, he's out of Texas Tech. He's the best punter in this year's draft. He's projected to be a top 5 punter in the NFL. We have multiple picks. We have a 7th round pick. We could pick up a punter there.
We could definitely pick up a punter there.
And I know it sounds stupid, a punter, but guys, it does affect. When we're pinning people back, it's very important. Now, if we have a guy like Sam Martin who does a 10-yard kick in a playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys, that was a momentum swinger in the wrong way. So we need to secure a guy that can swing the momentum in the correct way.
Absolutely. You know, and a lot of it, you know, people look at a punter and laugh, but, you know, they actually have, you know, they're the reason why you got good field position as a defense. You know, they pin them deep in the end zone or near the end zone where, you know, now your defense, if you could get a sack, could pick up maybe a safety or a forced fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Yeah, and to be a good team, it not only does it take good coaching, it takes quality players, and honestly, it takes a little bit of luck. And you have guys that can make some of those lucks on special teams for us to win.
Absolutely.
Right now, we are Avengers Infinity War with the referees being Thanos. So we need all the help we can get.
Absolutely. If we could take them and have them swallow their whistle and put the game away early and often, you know, we eliminated Thanos.
Yeah, I know, man. And look, we need the Infinity Gauntlet. And to do that, we need to hit on all 3 phases of this team to be quality.
Hey, absolutely. And, you know, and real talk, real teams, you know, they are quality at all 3 phases. You know, you might not see the big time plays or the highlight reels, but when it matters, they make the play.
Yeah, just ask the Chicago Bears about Devin Hester.
Hey, absolutely. Shout out to the, what do you call it? To the, Colts for deciding to kick to him.
Oh, yeah. I'll never forget a game. They kept saying, I would rather kick it to Lake Michigan than kick it to Devin Hester. And sure as can be, they were not kicking to him.
Absolutely. Hey, Devin Hester was a game changer. As much as I hated him, he was a game changer.
Yeah, we felt the bad end of that guy a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Man, it was really cool for me to call in and talk to you. I got to get ready for the Betty bye because I'm an early bird gets the worm, as many people know. But if you're, I have no idea who's in the chat, how many likes there is. But make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you ain't already subscribed to Troxel Sports, man. He's got some good stuff going on. He ain't new to the game. Been doing this for a while. And it's a lot of work to be doing a live stream 5 days a week. And so, man, you got to give your shout-outs to my guy, Travis. And appreciate you letting me on, man.
Appreciate you for calling in, brother. You have a wonderful night, and we're actually going to be wrapping this up. So, appreciate you, brother. You're more than welcome on the show anytime.
All right, man. Have yourself a good one. And adios to all the subscribers.
All right, brother. You have a wonderful night. Have a great night, brother.
Adios.
Adios. All right, guys. Well, that was Micro Mike for you guys. What's going on, Blaze? What's going on, Nate Victor? How you guys doing? Piece of Quite says Jonathan Taylor fumbles the ball, so I guess there's that. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys for rocking with me. We did 2 hours, and hopefully that the Gridiron Blitz and can be on Monday. That is the plan on his channel at 9 o'clock. He did get caught up at work, and then family came calling. So definitely want to make sure that he's all right. And with that being said, if you guys are not subscribed to Micro Mike, there's his comment. Definitely do so. He was the guy that was on the phone. Great YouTuber. And hey, I definitely appreciate you guys all. But with that being said, tomorrow I will be getting a piece of equipment to upgrade my microphone. So I do want to play one more song, and it's a song that also will I'm going to dedicate to Mr. Bill Withers. Just because it's going to be sad because this microphone has got me up to 1.15 or 1.51 thousand subscribers. And, so it's going to be a kind of a sad day. This is going to be a microphone that I do hang on the wall, in memories and kind of, reminisce of, the beginning stages of Troxel Sports Talk. If you guys followed me early in my career on YouTube, you guys would know me as, the quiet, shy guy. Here I talk for 2 hours. Good show, Trox. Grid has to do 4 hours on next show. Hey, that's if he can. Family and work comes first. I will never force a person to be on longer than they're allowed to. So, but we will definitely be on Monday. It is scheduled for the Gridiron Blitz's channel at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'd make Ty Johnson a returner, says James Willis. Hey, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. If, what do you call it? Because then we would be able to go get, what was his name? Brandon Mann. The punter. And if Jamal Agnew fails, you got Ty Johnson returner. And he was a returner with the Maryland Terrapins. So I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that happening. But I do want to say I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. You guys, please, 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 please stay safe. Wash your hands. If you're not feeling well, please stay in and, and help save lives that way. And to all the men and women out there, and as a nurse, doctor, police officer, first responder, military, the whole nine. I salute you guys. Appreciate you guys. And, my prayers are out with you guys. But with that being said, you guys, I appreciate you guys. This is Troxel Sports Talk and the Gridiron Blitz for the Grid and Trox Show on April 10th, 2020. Have a nice day, and we're out. Peace.